The average side hustler in America earns $885 a month. That sounds decent, maybe even exciting. But here's the number nobody puts in the thumbnail. The median, the actual middle of the pack, is $200 a month. 200. That gap between the average and the median tells you everything about how this industry works. A small number of people are making real money, and they're pulling the average up so high that everyone else thinks they're falling behind. So before you sign up for anything, before you watch another "I made $10,000 in my first month" video, you need to understand what each type of side hustle pays, what it costs, and what it truly demands from your life. Roughly 36% of American adults had a side hustle in 2024. By 2025, that number dropped to 27%. Not because the economy improved, but because millions of people did the math and quit. The gig economy, meaning the entire ecosystem of platform-based, app-driven, independent work, was valued at over $550 billion globally in 2024. That's a massive number, and it makes the whole thing sound like a gold rush. But gold rushes have a pattern. A few people get rich. Most people just dig. The problem with the word side hustle is that it covers everything from driving an Uber to building a six-figure consulting practice. Those aren't the same thing. They don't require the same skills, the same risk, or the same time. So let's break them apart. Every side hustle falls into one of three categories. You're either selling your time, selling a product, or selling attention. That distinction matters more than anything else you'll hear today, because it determines your income ceiling, your startup cost, and how long you'll grind before you see a dollar. This isn't financial advice, by the way. I'm not telling you what to do with your money or your weekends. I'm laying out the numbers so you can make that call yourself. Selling your time is the oldest model. You do a thing, someone pays you for the hour. The upside is speed. You can start tomorrow. The downside is the math never changes. There are only so many hours in a week. Gig work, the delivery and rideshare apps, sits at the bottom of the pay scale and the top of the accessibility scale. Anyone with a car and a phone can start driving for Uber or delivering for DoorDash by next Tuesday. And the gross numbers look reasonable. Uber drivers earned a median of about $21 an hour in 2025, according to Gridwise, which tracks over 1 billion gig tasks. Lyft was slightly lower at around $19.50. DoorDash, though, came in at roughly $11 an hour. That's gross, meaning before you subtract gas, maintenance, depreciation on your vehicle, and the self-employment taxes you now owe because nobody's withholding anything from your paycheck. After those expenses, most rideshare drivers net somewhere between $15 and $18 an hour. Delivery drivers net less, and here's what the apps don't advertise. Consumer prices on these platforms went up almost 10% in 2025, but driver pay per trip only rose about 3.5%. The platforms took the difference. You're not building a business. You're renting your car and your time to a corporation that keeps adjusting the split. Freelancing is a different animal entirely. The word gets thrown around loosely, but real freelancing, the kind where you're providing a skilled service like writing, design, programming, or marketing, has a much wider income range. The median hourly rate for U.S. freelancers is about $28, but that average hides enormous variation. Full-time freelancers in knowledge work, meaning skilled professional services, reported a median income of $85,000 in 2024. A record 5.6 million independent workers earned over $100,000 that same year. On the flip side, 24% of freelancers earn between $6 and $10 an hour. The variable isn't the platform, it's the skill. A freelance AI specialist can charge $100 to $200 an hour. A freelance data entry worker competes with thousands of people globally and watches their rates fall every year. Tutoring falls somewhere in between. It's time for money, but the hourly rate reflects expertise rather than availability. Platform-based tutors on sites like Wyzant earn around $27 an hour on average. Chegg tutors get closer to $20, but those are platform rates. Independent tutors who specialize in test prep, advanced math, or coding can charge $75, $100, even $150 an hour. One former Wall Street equities trader turned full-time tutor reported earning over $500,000 in 2023 through a mix of private clients and contracting with education companies. That's an outlier, obviously, but it shows the ceiling when you combine deep expertise with direct client relationships instead of routing everything through an app that takes 25%. Consulting is the top of the time for money hierarchy. Independent consultants earn a median of about $76 an hour, according to PayScale, with specialists in areas like AI, cybersecurity, or regulatory compliance commanding $150 to $300 an hour. In 2024, 4.7 million independent contractors in the U.S. earned over $100,000 annually, up from 3 million in 2020. Consulting isn't really a side hustle in the traditional sense. It's selling the expertise you already built in your career, usually back to the same industry you came from. That's why it pays more. You're not competing on price. You're competing on the fact that you know something a company needs, and hiring you for 30 hours is cheaper than hiring a full-time employee for a year. Every one of these, gig work, freelancing, tutoring, consulting, shares the same fundamental constraint. Your income is tied to your hours. You stop working, you stop earning. The question isn't just which one pays the most per hour. It's which one, if any, could eventually generate income when you're not actively sitting at a desk or behind a wheel. That's where the second category comes in. Selling a product means you're creating or sourcing something that can be sold more than once, or sold while you sleep. The promise sounds magical. The reality is more complicated. Dropshipping is the side hustle that launched 1,000 YouTube ads. The concept is simple. You set up an online store, a customer places an order, and a supplier ships the product directly to them. You never touch inventory. The global dropshipping market was valued at about $366 billion in 2024. That number makes it sound like everyone's winning. They're not. A 2024 survey of 1,200 active dropshippers found that beginners, meaning people in their first 6 months, averaged $890 a month in net profit. Nearly 60% didn't break even within their first year. The success rate of a dropshipping business in year one sits between 10 and 20%. The reason is advertising costs. You can build a store for almost nothing using Shopify and free supplier tools. But nobody will find your store unless you pay for traffic. Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok promotions. Those costs hit before your first sale, and they don't stop. Net profit margins in dropshipping typically run 15 to 20%. So, if you're generating $10,000 in revenue, you're keeping about $1,500 to $2,000 after product costs, shipping, ad spend, and platform fees. The people making serious money, $10,000 a month or more, represent roughly 12% of all active dropshippers. Print on demand works on a similar model, but with lower stakes. You design a graphic, upload it to a platform like Printify or Printful, connect it to an Etsy or Shopify store, and when someone orders a t-shirt or a mug with your design, the provider prints and ships it. You earn the markup. The global print-on-demand market reached roughly $10 to $12 billion in 2025, and it's growing at over 23% per year. But seller-level income is modest. The median Etsy seller earns about $574 a month in revenue, not profit. Top sellers maintain profit margins of 40 to 50%, but they're also publishing 10 or more new listings every single week. It's not passive. It's a design and listing treadmill. Reselling, or flipping, is arguably the most honest side hustle in this category because nobody pretends the work is passive. You find undervalued items at thrift stores, estate sales, or liquidation pallets, and you sell them online for more than you paid. Part-time resellers typically earn $500 to $2,000 a month. Profit margins are enormous, often 50 to 75%, because your sourcing cost is a few dollars, and your selling price is 20, 30, sometimes hundreds. Poshmark takes a flat 20% on sales over $15. eBay takes 10 to 15% depending on the category. The skill here isn't marketing. It's knowing what's valuable when nobody else in the thrift store does. That takes time to develop, but it costs almost nothing to start. What did you notice about those three? Dropshipping requires capital before it returns anything. Print on demand requires volume before it returns anything meaningful. Reselling requires knowledge and sweat equity, but almost no upfront money. They all sell products, but the risk profiles are completely different, and none of them are truly passive. Every store needs listing updates, customer service, return management, and constant attention to what's selling and what isn't. The third category, selling attention, is the one that gets the most hype and the least honest conversation. Content creation, meaning YouTube, TikTok, podcasting, or blogging for ad revenue, is the modern lottery ticket. The creator economy was valued at $250 billion in 2024 and is projected to double by 2027. There are over 69 million active YouTube creators, but the income distribution is brutal. A small YouTube channel might earn $20,000 to $1,000 a month from ad revenue. To even qualify for YouTube's partner program, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time within the past 12 months. Most creators take 6 months to a year just to reach that threshold. And even once you're monetized, YouTube's CPM, meaning what advertisers pay per 1,000 views, varies wildly by niche. A finance channel might earn $10 to $30 per 1,000 views. A gaming channel might earn $2 to $5. The real money in content creation doesn't come from ads. It comes from sponsorships, merchandise, digital products, and building an audience you can sell to directly. Mr. Beast reportedly earned $85 million in 2024. That's a data point, not a benchmark. The average US-based YouTube creator with over 100,000 subscribers earns an estimated $5,000 to $6,000 per month from the partner program alone. Creators with over 1 million subscribers average closer to $39,000 to $89,000 per month, but fewer than 1% of all YouTube channels ever reach 1 million subscribers. Content creation is high ceiling, long runway, and brutal survival rates. Affiliate marketing is the quieter sibling. You recommend a product, include a special tracking link, and earn a commission when someone buys through it. The global affiliate marketing industry was worth about $17 billion in 2025. Amazon Associates, the biggest program, has over 900,000 affiliates, but only about 10 to 20% of affiliate marketers earn enough to treat it as primary income. Beginners earn $0 to $1,000 a month. The highest earning niches are education, averaging over $15,000 a month, and finance, averaging around $9,000. But those figures come from established affiliates with years of content, audience trust, and search engine rankings. The median affiliate marketer is closer to $35,000 to $40,000 per year. Affiliate income is one of the few models where the work you did 6 months ago can still pay you today. But it takes 6 to 12 months of consistent, unpaid content before most people see any meaningful return at all. What's the first side hustle you ever tried, and how long did it last? Here's the part that doesn't make it into the promotional posts. 67% of side hustlers report experiencing burnout, and 44% of Americans who have a side hustle say they need it to survive financially. That's not a lifestyle choice. That's a pressure cooker. The Bankrate survey in 2025 found that 28% of side hustlers earn just $1 to $50 a month. Think about that for a second. Nearly 3 in 10 people doing extra work on top of their regular job are netting less than the cost of a single dinner out. Dr. David Mitchell, an economist and director of the Bureau of Economic Research at Missouri State University, studied the data and put it plainly. A lot of people finally started to run the numbers and decided it just wasn't worth it. That's reflected in the participation drop. Side hustle rates fell from 36% to 27% between 2024 and 2025, the lowest level since 2017. The people who quit weren't lazy. They did the math. When you factor in the hours, the expenses, the taxes nobody withheld for you, and the burnout tax on your health and relationships, a lot of side hustles paid less than minimum wage for far more stress. The gender gap makes it worse. Men with side hustles earn an average of nearly $1,200 a month. Women earn about $611. Median earnings for men are $247. For women, $148. Same hustle economy, different results depending on who you are. So if the numbers are this uneven, why do people keep starting? Because the side hustle industrial complex, the influencers, the course sellers, the "I made 10K in my first week" testimonials, frames every one of these as a path to financial freedom. And for a small percentage of people, it is. But for most, a side hustle is just a second job with worse benefits, no labor protections, and an income stream that could disappear if an algorithm changes or a platform adjusts its payout structure. The real question isn't, what's the best side hustle? It's, what am I building toward? A side hustle that teaches you a marketable skill, freelance copywriting, web development, data analysis, consulting, is worth more over 5 years than one that pays slightly more per hour right now, but leaves you with nothing transferable. Driving for DoorDash for 2 years teaches you the layout of your city. Freelancing for 2 years teaches you how to sell, how to manage clients, and how to price your own labor. Both earned money. Only one made you more employable. Think of it as a simple grid. On one axis, put time to first dollar. How fast can you start earning? On the other axis, put income ceiling. How high can this eventually go? Gig work lands in the corner of fast money but low ceiling. You can earn tomorrow, but you'll earn roughly the same amount per hour in year 3 as you did in month 1. Consulting and specialized freelancing land in the fast money, high ceiling corner, assuming you already have expertise someone will pay for. Dropshipping and print on demand sit in the slow money, medium ceiling zone. They can scale, but most people stall out before reaching meaningful profit. Content creation and affiliate marketing are the slowest money with the highest theoretical ceiling. You could build something that earns while you sleep, but most people run out of patience, money, or ideas before they get there. Where you start on that grid should depend on where you are right now. If you need $500 by the end of the month, affiliate marketing is the wrong move. If you're building toward long-term independence, gig driving is a treadmill that won't get you there. Match the model to your timeline and your tolerance for delayed payoff. That $885 average, it's being carried by the freelancers billing $85 an hour and the consultants on retainer. The median of $200 tells you what most people's side hustles look like. Knowing the difference between those two numbers might be the most valuable thing you take from this video. If this helped you see the full picture, like and subscribe.